Good morning. Hey Nwachuku, how are you doing? Good morning. Hey Jumarinas, hope you're well. Good morning Nev, how are you doing? I'm guessing that you guys can see me okay, hear me all right. Super. All right, cool. We'll give it a minute before we get started. In the meantime, if you are new to the session, as usual, please drop a message and say hi. Let me know where you're joining us from. And for all the regulars, I see you guys saying hi. Thank you again for joining me on this daily market analysis. Good to have you again with me. Hey Jimmy, how are you doing? Hey Diana, good morning. Hey Lindy, hope you're well. Hey Neymar, good morning, good morning. I always say good morning to you guys, but it's like 3 p.m. my time already, so it's almost past, it's almost towards the late afternoon or in the evenings already. But yes, good morning to everyone. Hope you're all well. Nothing much happened. Nothing much happened on the markets yesterday, as it sat in a relative consolidation. A little bit of weakness on the dollar, but relative consolidation. My euro that I signaled out to you guys was I hit my take profit 30 pips. Nothing much happened after that. We did just see the UK with a slightly weaker employment numbers, which saw some weakness onto the pound dollar. But it looks like today is going to continue with its slight quietness heading into Wednesday, where we have the CPI to come from the US. And then on Thursday morning for me, it's going to be the US FOMC rates decision. No big surprises there, but looking out for any potential setups. Right, so if you're feeling like you're not entering many trades for the last 2 days, you're not alone. I'm here with you. I only had one trade over the last 2 days, so hold on tight, hang on tight. I'm sure we'll look forward to more setups later into the week, especially. Okay. Neymar says it's midnight his time. Good morning there. Lily's finally back home. Yes. I hope you had a good trip. Lily, I hope you had a good trip. Well, I actually caught up. So just a side note, I actually caught up with Lindy in Singapore when he dropped by. Had a coffee. It was a bit too early for a beer. Had a coffee. Had a good chat about the markets and the trading journey. Looking forward to infusing. He gave me a bottle of rum, so looking forward to. I haven't done it yet, but infusing that rum. So thanks for that again, Lindy. Okay, now a quick disclaimer. Any information contained on this webinar should not be construed as advice and is presented as educational material only. Please do your own due diligence, as the contents of this webinar are not intended to be a recommendation to trade a financial product, as your objectives, financial situation and needs has not been considered, and you should consider its appropriateness to your circumstances. Take that away. That's done. Now, good morning, Christina. How are you doing? All right, so now what we just had at 2 p.m. an hour ago was the UK claimant count change, right? The UK claimant count change, which is the number of people claiming for unemployment benefits. The number of people claiming for unemployment benefits in the UK. Big change here. It went from 8.9, revised slightly downwards to 8.4. Expected 10.2, came out at a 50.4. Right, so a big change there on the claimant count number for the UK, and also unemployment rate for the UK climbing slightly from a 4.3 to a 4.4. And because of this claimant count change and unemployment rate, increase in claimant counts and increase in unemployment rate from the UK, what we saw on the pound dollar was it was sitting at that 1.2736 level just before the news. On release of the news, it dropped from 1.2736 down to 1.2716, set along this trend line that we have from way back, and it looks like it's trying to break that trend line again. Right, it looks like it's trying to break that trend line again. The funny thing was, when I was waiting, I was looking at this news and I was just thinking, you know, what if it comes out pretty much flat or relatively unchanged? I was also thinking that we might have a bit of a, take that away for now, we might have a bit of a, let me do that, shoulder, head, shoulder, and then it was going to break that neckline to the upside. I thought there was going to be an inverted head and shoulder pattern, but just as it was trying to break that 23.6, it reversed strongly back down, right? So looking at the pound dollar potentially pushing lower. Yesterday, when we were just after our session, as the pound dollar pushed down, I highlighted to you guys on the Discord channel, I was very keen on this pushing down to break that support to the downside. I think yesterday we were talking at the pound dollar to sell at 1.2745. Right, 1.2745 was up here, thinking they were going to test and reject. A quick update, you know, I was looking for it to break to the downside, break that support, head lower, but it came down, it went outside of the Bollinger Band, and then it bounced right back up again. Okay, so it came right back up, now looking like it's going to retest or retry to push down again. So we look forward to that. I'll tell you more about that shortly. After or before that, what has happened is a whole bunch of, not that much yesterday, as we had some news, but not of key big news events. Okay, then after this, employment numbers for the UK, we can again see not much news to be had all the way through to tomorrow. Tomorrow, where we have again at 2 p.m. GMT plus 8, the UK with their GDP number, this time from a 0.4 to a 0. Looking at it, maybe we're going to see some further weakness on the pound dollar because of the GDP. And then at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8, we do have the US CPI to be released. It is expected to stay at 3.4. I'll tell you more about that during tomorrow's session, but maybe we might see a little bit of a upset, right? It was 3.5 just last month. It was 3.5, dropped down to 3.4. We might be looking at a bit of an upset here on the CPI in the lead up to the FOMC rates decision. Okay, and also at the same time tomorrow at 8 p.m. I will be doing a Zoom session with everyone on the Discord group. The links are there on the Discord group. Yeah, the Discord server, Discord group, we've scrolled on Discord. So if you'd like to join me on a Zoom session, we'll start off with a bit of a chat about trading journey, about, you guys can ask questions, I'll answer whatever I can answer, and then we'll flick over to the CPI news release and look to trade that together. Okay, so if you haven't already and you're on the Discord channel, do make sure that you check out that link. Let me know if you're going to be joining us, and I'll look forward to seeing you all also at 8 o'clock GMT plus 8. Right, so we'll have the stream and then the 8 p.m. session tomorrow. So not much in terms of news to talk about right now. Now let's look at the charts. Before that, hey Lydia, how are you doing? Good morning, Angel Case. Hope you're well. Hey Matt, good morning. Okay, so now dollar index. Zoom that down a little bit. Okay, dollar index, we had a lot of squiggles and lines, expecting it to retrace and possibly close that gap on the dollar. It did retrace, but not as much as we expected, right? We had it down to 105, the round number support level. It came down to 105, about 105.16, consolidated there, now showing, only just right now, showing a little bit of a push to the upside. So it looks like the consolidation is somewhat done, right? If you pick that highest point there, it actually came down to almost at 23.6, consolidated or consolidating here, right? And we're looking for this to continue its push towards the upside at 105.56 or 105.60. You see that would be that 60% level. Okay, so that 50 was broken, so we take that away. And now looking at this, putting that dotted line to that high. I wouldn't do anything yet on the dollar index because it's still somewhat sitting in that consolidation. I would still consider it as sitting in that consolidation. So what I want to see here on the dollar as it pushes up, right? Let me just take that away first, is that I might see that push up and close and bounce around here, right? It might just sit, push up slightly and, what am I saying? Okay, no, but what I'm looking at is that as it pushes higher, I'm not going to be looking to do anything in that range, right? I'm only looking to see that if it breaks above that 105.35 level, then we're looking for it to push up towards that 105.60 level. Going to still be a little bit quiet for today, so I'm not expecting a big push. Essentially looking for it to push up to this point and then bounce around at this resistance level in the lead up to the CPI and the rates decision for the US. Okay, and I'll show you that the last time they kept rates on hold on the 2nd of May, or they've been keeping rates on hold since, where was it? Since September, right? So the last time they did that on the 2nd of May, where were we? Here. Right, zoom in a bit, there we are, right there. Right, we did see the dollar index push strongly to the downside, right? Push strongly to the downside. This was on release of the news. Zoom in a bit. Bounce back up while during the press conference and then continue lower again after that. So that's also one reason why I want to see it come up towards this resistance, thinking that if Chair Powell can be so nice to give us a good indication of a potential of the timeline for rate cuts decision to come around, then we might see, this is on Thursday, we might see a good reversal back down from this 105.60 level. Okay, so that's what I'm looking for on Thursday, but for now, looking at it consolidating and pushing up towards that 105.60 level. So what I'm looking at here is the 11th. We have retraced and consolidating, right? Looking for it to trade, looking to trade higher towards 105.60 resistance level. There we go. Okay, just a further push towards upside towards 105.60 at that resistance level. Hey Augusto, good afternoon, how are you doing? And then that's on Thursday. We'll look at that Thursday at 2 a.m. Hopefully we see a rejection from there to push back down. Okay, Now with that, then, so expecting some dollar strength to come back into play, this would have been still valid, but I wanted, or I would like to have seen the Kiwi push up a bit more to test that 38.2 level, right? So when this happened, when it consolidated and pushed up, I said, yeah, great, we were expecting that. It came right up just below that 38.2 and pushed down. I thought, too early. It's too early to be looking to sell it down because we had our line there. I wanted to test and reject. So when it pushed up again today, I was looking and thinking that, great, was it going to push up and turn back down? It looks like that's not going to happen if the dollar does continue to push up. So what I would be looking for here at this point would be below 6115. 6115, 35 pip, take profit, 20 pip, 25 pip, stop loss. Right, so that's done. I'll be looking for that. Test, it didn't really test, but I'll be looking for it to sit around there for a while and then break to the downside. So 6115, 25 to 35, not a big trade expected here at this time. So I'm looking to sell at 6115, 25 to 35. Just thinking whether it could break lower. No, I'll hold that support level there. Maybe looking for a bounce on Thursday, right? So we'll look for that to break a small trade to the downside on the Kiwi dollar. That's relatively straightforward. The Aussie disappointed again. I was looking this one when it tested, right? I'll show you that one when I looked at that at 8 o'clock last night. I was watching the charts, but nothing much happened. Couldn't get into any trades. It tested that 23.6, and then I'll move this away to the side for now. Right? It tested that 23, it consolidated, tested 23.6, formed a pin bar. Right? You see, it formed a pin bar right there, and I thought, great, I'm looking to sell it down. I sat there waiting for it to close lower, right? Close lower, but it didn't close. It came down and then it pushed right up, and then that's it, right? So once it pushed up, I thought, no, that's it. I'm going to wait. Now that it's gone up, take that away. It's gone up to close to that 38.2 level. I don't need that. 23 and 50 you can take away. That's my previous swing level. Don't really need that as much. Take those away. Now what we're looking at here on the Aussie is that although it looks like it's going to move, it's still sitting in a relative wide consolidation. And also, if you look at this, that's a brief trend line to the upside. So it does need to break that 6595 level. It needs to break 6995. Then it could head down, but between 6995 and 6595 and 6577, not a lot of pips. Not a lot of pips here. So I wouldn't want to do anything in the middle here. If we do see that dollar strength, then we could see it trade lower. I'm not thinking that it's going to break that much. Right? We'll look at 6570. Stop loss 15. Take profit for 50 to the downside. I don't even see that. I don't see much of that happening. I feel that Aussie dollar could come down, but it looks like it's going to consolidate along that point, along that 6580 level. Yeah, I mean, there are a couple of levels here that you want to watch out for. I wouldn't do that. I want to see, I'll stay out of it for now. I want to see what happens between 6580. I want to see what happens at, I'll show you here, this area first. 6565 and 6580. Then if it does break that, then we could have a good move down to 61.8. Okay, so on the Aussie, basically what we're going to do is, although we anticipate that it could come down to this point, we're looking for a reaction along 6570. So nothing yet on the Aussie. Right, we're looking for a reaction at 0.6570. Dollar strength is going to push this down, but if it hits that resistance and sits right across, then it could come down and sit right across here. Okay, I'm happy with that. I want to see what happens at this point here in the lead up to tomorrow's CPI, and then after that the FOMC. So I want to see a reaction there. Then on to, so far so good. Any questions, do let me know. If you have any questions, put it into the chat and let me know. Right, then on to the US yen, did not trigger that, take that away. This I would hold as still valid. Right, if we do see that dollar strength come back into play, 157.25, well, 157.52, 20 to 45. I think what could happen here is this could be something that, or it's likely that it's something that I would set an order at, because I might not be able to catch this move in the sense that it might happen quite quickly, right? Where it sits there, where it sits here, and then the next moment it goes up and then pops up to that point very quickly to the upside. Right, so I'll still keep that view at 157.50, 20 to 45 to the upside. 157.50, 20 to 45 to the upside. Thinking it's going to consolidate and then pop up. So consolidating. We'll keep that one. Why? Okay. No, we're looking to buy at 157.50. Stop loss 20. Take profit 45 to the upside. That could be a quick trade. That's what we'll look out for. All right, consolidate slightly and then pop up. I'm thinking that it'll look something like this one here. Consolidate and the next moment it just pops up. If you look at this as a trade, this was a good 30 pip move to the upside. You know, could be something quite similar or something like that. Consolidate and then a few candles pop to the upside. It could very quickly be too late to enter as well. So this would be something that, you know, I would probably set and forget and let it run and try for that 45 to the upside. On breakout would be good for a long. On the breakout of this would be good for a long. But I wouldn't be too optimistic above 158. Yes, it can go above 158, but not at this point. Tomorrow, not tomorrow, the day after Thursday's news, or tomorrow and Thursday's news is going to give us that next direction. I like to see it come up to a resistance. Then, you know, tomorrow and Thursday, we could see it pop up towards that resistance of 159.50 or completely reverse back down again. So nicer, it'll be a lot easier, inverted commas, easier to trade when it's at a key level that we could find a good reaction to. Okay, so yep, looking forward to that. Then on the pound, look at it test that level again. Right, take this all the way down here. You can see that it tested 38.2, tested and rejected 38.2 to push down. Once it breaks 157.45, yeah, so 157.45 is there. Let it close, get to 157.50. Yep, I'm good. I'm happy they were aligned on that. Pound dollar wouldn't, again, very similar to the Aussie dollar, wouldn't do anything between the trend line and that support level. I want to see it break that support 1.2680 to sell down. Wouldn't even think 75, think 35. Stop loss 20. So I'm keeping it very tight, relatively tight now, mainly because I don't see, at this point, I don't see any big drivers on price, right? So 1.2680, 20 to 35. 1.2680, 20 to 35. Okay, good. Yes, happy. Then onto the euro, right? Was looking for it to test that 23 and reject. Didn't. It dropped a little bit further. It did drop. I was happy that it dropped because it hit my take profit of 30 pips on that trade. Then as you renew that level to the downside here, you see that it tested that 23.6 level, rejecting. Again, I think that if you are a bit more aggressive, if you are more risk taking, then you could be looking to sell down from this point, so 1.0758, stop loss tight, 20 pips, take profit, 30 pips to the downside. I don't like looking for that kind of downside because it could be 30, it could be 23, and then very easily it's a 1:1 or even less than that, playing within that small move. I would prefer to, like we said yesterday, look for reaction along this support level and look for it to break or bounce. That trend line is done. We can take that trend line away. Okay, and then we have a couple of middle levels here. In the middle right there. Right, so what I'm looking at is for it to break. Again, very dollar bullish. And it looks like it is going to be, but it's going to be relatively topped out. Looks a bit toppish at 105.60. So I'm looking for it to push down, break that support. And if it does break that support, then 107.15, and 1.0715, 20 to 40 to the downside. Let me go a little bit earlier. 20 there. 20 there, 45. You could do that. You could look for that. There is a price gap created on Sunday. You're talking about the dollar index. Yes, there is that gap there. We were expecting it to close out yesterday, but it didn't. And because it didn't and found at 23, I think that we might see it push back up first. So looking at 1.0720. Oh, I didn't see on the euro dollar. I don't see a price gap here. I was thinking that it could push up a little bit more, but I don't see that price gap here. But I'm thinking that if it stays below on 5 minutes, okay. Now we won't look at it on the 5 minute time frame. Okay, let's just have a look at it first. Don't see it either. Check your brokerage. Okay. But I'll be looking for that. I think more likely it's going to consolidate along this point. Even if it does push down, wouldn't do anything until it breaks that support. Then I'll look to sell it down. Good morning, Pips Apprentice. How are you doing? So euro dollar 1.0720, 20 to 45 to the downside. Okay, we'll look at that one. Euro dollar, we're looking to sell at 1.0720, stop loss 20, take profit 45 to the downside. Okay, I'm happy with that. Consolidating there, push down, yes, that makes sense. Then on to the US Swiss franc. This was a spike to the upside because of the non-farm employment change number, but ever since it spiked up, it was sitting in that consolidation. All right, we were thinking yesterday, could it push up further? Dollar strength, massive dollar strength to spike it up again. That didn't happen, so we'll take that away. But what I'm looking at here is that given that, let me just remove that. Given that it's tested this point, that 38.2, 50 is at resistance level, right? We could see it push up, right? But what needs to happen is it needs to break above 0.8982 before we'll see it get up to that resistance. There was one thought. I did have one thought where as it sits here, could it come back down again if the dollar doesn't strengthen, right? If it doesn't push to the upside, in fact, if it does break back down, could it come right back down again? I think that although that you never say never on the markets, but I think that the likelihood for this move back down seems to be quite low. And those of you who like chart patterns, you would also agree with me that there is this move that way, right, that we're looking at from this point. If you took the tails, I wouldn't take the tails, I'll take the bodies. More of the bodies, we're looking at that pushing up. Right, so we're looking for it to break up and head further towards that resistance. I don't think we're going to see that big move. I don't think we're going to see a big move, and I don't think it's worth trying to catch this 25 pips again. All right, so I want to see it react to that 9012 level. Okay, so on the US Swiss franc, we're waiting. look for reaction at 0.9012. 9012 level resistance. Okay. And I think that we're likely to see that bounce around a little bit more before pushing up a couple of levels there to get to the upside. So that makes sense. I realize that I'm breezing through these because there isn't much to update about after yesterday's relatively quiet session. Again, very similar pattern you see here is a push to the upside, price holding that level like that with a horizontal, looking for it to break to the upside again on dollar strength. All right, resistance, yes, I'm happy with that. I would actually think that it's going to do that for a little bit more. So bounce around and break up. I will maintain this view 1.3790 to the upside. 1.3790 20 to 50 to the upside. If it, looking at the dollar sitting right there, if it doesn't push up, I'm just thinking, no, I wouldn't want to be buying there either. I don't think it's worth doing that. Let me see one more level. Let me just check one more thing right there. 38.2 is right there. The other time I would be thinking to buy if it doesn't push up would be if it retraces even further down towards that 50. Right, so if it comes right back down, test and reject, then I'll be looking to trade it up to be like 1.3735, no, a bit lower, 1.3730, stop loss 15, take profit 50. Right, so either it sits there and pushes straight up, or it retraces down to that 50% level, then I'll be looking for that move. But at this current point, it looks like the more likely scenario is for it to sit in consolidation and break to the upside. Very similar to what we're seeing here on the dollar index. I'll zoom in a bit for the dollar. Okay, there we go. Then on to gold. Was looking for it to test and reject to push down. It tested, did not reject back down significantly. Right, we spoke about this, needs to stay below 23.15 for bearish downside continuation. Strong support at 22.80. 22.80 support level is there. 23.15 did tested and set in a slight consolidation. And it looks like, look at that, the last two candles pushing up slightly, while the last two here, this one's still pushing up a bit. So what I'm looking for is, I want to actually see this test and bounce. I want to actually see it test the support and bounce. But I don't see why it would test and bounce, because expecting that dollar strength. Okay, that makes sense. Right, so if we're thinking that the dollar could strengthen back up and then maybe during FOMC, see it weaken back down. We could be looking at it maintaining the same thing, right? Sitting here, consolidating. I'm looking for it to test 2280 before possibly bouncing back up again. So on gold, I would say that I'll keep the same view, needs to stay below 2315 for bearish downside, strong support. At that point, looking for a bounce. Okay, nothing much happening across the board right now. Then let's look at as we look at the yen potentially when it's forming up. I want to get into that, pushing to the upside. And the euro sitting right there, maybe pushing back up a little bit, but consolidating onto the euro yen. We saw it push down. I got a lot of lines here. Let me see. That one's worked out. Take that away. My trend line, I can maintain that. I actually don't need that fib level there. All right, I maintain that trend line and that swing low. But looking at the way I don't need this level, do I need? Okay, no, I need that point here. Right, that's my support. Weak support, not a very strong one, because it's broken quite easily. What I'm thinking here is anticipating that the US yen could push up, right? Anticipating that the euro dollar could sit there, maybe a little bit upside, but could sit there in consolidation. US yen pushing up, euro yen could push up, and I'm looking for it to possibly test this level here, 170. So it's a good 60 pip move upwards, but if you're looking to get in 169.55, it's right in the middle. I don't like it that much because it's right in the middle. I would have to think of that point at 35. Take profit would be down to 50 there. Euro yen will retrace to fair value on H1 close to the support level. It would what would make the euro yen retrace is if we see that hold and push down, right? Hold and push down. But what I think could happen first is as that pushes up on the US yen, then that might drag this up a bit. All right, and if you're thinking that, then we might even be looking at this pushing up slightly before turning back down. I think that would be a better setup, looking for a reaction along that point, back down towards where that trend line was. So I'll prefer that move rather than to think that it could retrace back. Okay. So Diana saying that we're looking to buy at about that point back up. Yeah, but I think it might push up. I don't really like to buy it there because it's right in the middle, but I look for a reaction to sell it back down again, anticipating that the euro could drag it back down again. Okay. Kiwi yen and Aussie yen. I did Aussie long yesterday. Okay, we did look at Aussie yen yesterday. Right, I was anticipating for that to push down. It didn't. Right, it pushed right back up. So you did that long, very nice. Take that away. That didn't bounce off the support for the double bottom. Pushed up. Now in that level, breaking up. Aussie dollar testing a bit lower. Kiwi dollar testing a bit lower as well. US yen, I want to see that break up. I would say that Aussie yen, I would keep that view. I might tighten it a bit and go to, no, keep it at 104.10. 104.10, 25 to 50 or 60 pips to the upside. I'll look for that continuation up with the yen pushing up, staying up, dragging higher towards that resistance level, together with the Kiwi. But you can see we haven't done anything on the Kiwi. The Kiwi, I wouldn't be too keen on, because if you look at that as my resistance, and it's right in the middle there, it needs to break past that point. It's right at that. So we'll possibly see that push up towards this point, but not do anything there. Right, push up towards this point, but not, I wouldn't be looking to trade on that, because that's about a 25 pip move to the upside, so wouldn't be too keen on that. Right, Kiwi yen test that resistance and then look for the next move, but nothing for now. Aussie yen break up out of that consolidation to the upside, could be looking for that. Then on the pound yen, we were talking about this yesterday, breaking higher. I didn't get into this, I didn't even forgot to look at this on the inverted head and shoulder as it broke the neckline to the upside. It did come down slightly here because of the pound dollar dragging lower. Right, on the pound dollar dragging lower, I think that if the pound dollar does continue to drag lower, then on the pound yen we might see the end of that and drag back down. Would conflict against the other yen pairs, there's too many lines, I'll take that away. Would conflict against the other yen pairs, because we're looking at the other yen pairs possibly pushing up. So it looks like it's going to hesitate along here for a while. Maybe a better move would be to look for it to test and reject back down again. Okay, so a reaction along that 200.80 level. Alrighty, so a whole bunch, it looks like a whole bunch of not that much to do at this point. Kiwi waiting for it to trade slightly lower with a small move potential. Aussie, you want to see it react to that support area there. Yen is the most likely for the upside, slight upside move, 45 pips only. Pound dollar trend line forming very strong, looking for it to break that trend line and that support level. Euro dollar consolidating, needs a lot of waiting for it to break that support. Swiss franc in that pennant or flag, bullish pennant or bullish flag, squeezing, looking for a breakout. US CAD sitting there, not doing too much. I think ideally we're looking at that as a breakout potential. Overall, this yesterday and today is supposed to test you on your discipline and patience. Take it as a test, embrace it. Look forward to tomorrow, where we're going to have the GDP a bit of a move, but more importantly the CPI at 8:30 p.m. GMT plus 8 tomorrow, and then the Fed funds rate keeping rates on hold at 5.5%. But what could Chair Powell say that is going to surprise the markets? We'll look forward to that. Okay, so I'll see you all on Discord, and if not, then I'll see you tomorrow on the live stream, same time, same place, and look out for the Zoom sessions for all the members on Discord as well. Take care, trade well, trade safe. Bye-bye now.